It's almost like they're waiting to concede and waiting to lose the game because it becomes a habit in the end, losing football matches, as winning does, as Nuno would tell you at Nottingham Forest.
And the one thing that's quite amazing is that he's come into this football and from German football, and he took the world by storm. Palace last year, the back end of last year,
6 wins out of 7.
Was amazing. And not just wins, by the way.
Yeah.
They proper performances and like going through teams like, you know, like a knife through butter. And now this contrast of this run is completely different. So he's finding the two extremes of the Premier League. He hasn't had a happy medium. He's had two extremes, and that's difficult to manage. And I'm guessing he'll be scratching his head tonight a little bit of where the answer is, because if I was going home on the bus with that team today, I think I'd have to make 3 or 4 changes, really, just to freshen it up and give them a little bit of belief, even throw in a young kid. I think they're at that stage.
Difficult night then for Palace, but another very good one for Nottingham Forest, who, as I've said, are suddenly level on points with Spurs and a point off Chelsea. So there are 10 games on another very eventful Premier League weekend. So victories in the end for Spurs, Villa, Everton, United, Brighton, Leicester, Bournemouth, City, Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. Not a draw, let alone a goalless one amongst this weekend, and 29 goals and 5 red cards to boot. So, a familiar look about the top. Arsenal missed the opportunity on Saturday to go there for the first time this season. City then went top. Liverpool responded with a win over Chelsea. So it is Liverpool and City. Suddenly a 3 and 4 point gap between themselves and Arsenal. Villa are in 4th. Forest, as I say, up to 8th, level on points with Spurs after the win this evening. As we've mentioned, for the first time in top flight history, 8 games in, there are 4 teams without a win, but Ipswich have 4 draws, and that's why they're out of the drop zone. So in it, Palace remain, and Southampton and Wolves, who both have just 1 point to show from a possible 24.
Chris, congratulations, a 5th goal of the season, and finally a home win for Forest. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been, but it's fantastic to get a win under the lights here at the City Ground. So it's fantastic. The crowd were out there in numbers with us today and got us over the line.
When the ball dropped to you, you had a swing at it. What was you thinking?
Look, just try and hit the target and anything can happen. I had a couple of chances in the first half which didn't go my way and things like that, but you got to keep shooting and keep trying and thankfully winning.
It was a very un-Chris Wood-like goal, wasn't it? You don't score many from outside of the area. Can you remember the last time you got one from there?
To be fair, luckily I got one last season. But yes, as you say, very few and far between, especially in my type of game. But it's fantastic just to get the goal and get the win.
You mentioned a chance at the end of the first half. You should have stuck that away, really, shouldn't you?
Look, it's one of those that's come off my toe and come backwards, really. It's one of those you're just trying to get clean contact and you're on the stretch and unfortunately it doesn't go in and go straight to Dean, but that's how it goes sometimes. You just got to keep fighting and hopefully one comes to you.
Give us a little bit of the background to the baby celebration.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 12, 13 weeks. We found out we're pregnant, or my wife's pregnant, so it's fantastic that we can hopefully welcome a little girl into our world.
It's been quite a week for you. Been away on international duty. You must have travelled miles and miles. What kind of shape are you in? You seem to slot straight back in.
Look, yeah, I mean, travelling back to New Zealand is what I do, and it's what I love to do, playing for my national team. But yeah, I was lucky it was a Monday night kickoff, so it made travelling back a little bit easier and a lot more time to recover. But it's part and parcel of football, you just get on with it.
The manager wasn't on the touchline today, serving that touchline ban. Did that change the dynamic at all?
No, definitely not. I think he has as much influence as possible throughout the dressing room, before the game, after the game, and he gets us ready on the training pitch, and that's the main thing.
Just sum up the start of the season Forest have had, because with this home win, you're up to 8th.
Look, yeah, it's vitally important. We've got to keep going, keep looking forward. We've got a big game on Friday, so anything can happen. We can push even further up the table.
Congratulations, well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, Leicester away for Forest on Friday. We'll be on the road for Matchday Live, and up to 8. I mean, we were actually saying on Saturday what a decent start Spurs have had. Suddenly Forest are level on points with Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, Nuno would love to beat Tottenham in the league, wouldn't he? You know, after the poor period he had there. He's done a great job, Nuno. You have to give it to him. You know, after he struggled at Tottenham. Like we said, he had a good time at Wolves. He looks like he's enjoying his time here at Nottingham Forest. He's got a good squad of players. Marinakis, the owner there, has backed him well. They've recruited great. You know, they seem to have that scattergun approach in the early days where they were just buying everything what was available. But now it looks like it's more structured. They've got good players. They have good pace. They've got ability. They've got strength. They've got a mix of youth and experience. I think it's all going well for them. I think they're overachieving. I really believe that. But can they keep it going? Why not?
Yeah, they've got the second best defence in the league behind Liverpool as well. Another clean sheet for them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they are in a false position. I absolutely agree with Tim, because that squad is definitely not good enough to be the top 10 after 38 games. But, you know, when you look at the bottom of the table now, Forest have got themselves a nice little distance. So, and trust me, when you are a manager at Nottingham Forest, you are looking there rather than up there. And, you know, that's a nice cushion for them. And it will give them a bit of breathing space, because there's going to be some defeats coming their way. I don't know, they'll get one on Friday night. They're probably well set for Friday night. Yeah. They could get another 3 points and find themselves in the top 8. But, you know, realistically, they're looking at another of stability year in the Premier League, more quality coming into the group for next year, and then maybe a top 10 finish.
What about Dean Henderson's moment in the Crystal Palace goal, though, for the goal?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is poor from Palace's point of view. This is just put down the channel, and this is a poor header. He's headed it back down the middle, and Woods, because he's a striker, he's just gone, I'm going to hit it. Like, you know, I'm not even going to think about it. Here he goes, he gets set, and you see Woods, he's just peeling off the centre arms as if he's going to come and get it to feet. And then the ball goes long, there's a poor header, and he hits it. And then Henderson, unfortunately, his arm doesn't slide along the floor. It's kind of just lifted a little bit, and the ball's gone underneath. And he goes from the #1 position in England to that era. And that just goes to show you the ups and downs of football, doesn't it? You know, that's it. In like the space of 4 or 5 days, that can happen to you. And he'll have to bounce back from that, because it has cost them very dearly tonight.
We talked about fine margins at half-time, and ultimately it is an error that's won the game for Forest.
It is. It was a game that felt like it was going to be an error. Yeah, I thought Palace started really well in the second half. They had a couple of chances, didn't take them, and the confidence just drained out of them, and just felt like the goal was going to come. But I didn't expect it to come from a bad error like that. You'd have to say he's a very confident lad, Henderson, and it was a poor mistake from him. He's going to have to go in that dressing room and take that one firmly on the chin, hold his hands up to the rest of the group, because he's let them down there tonight. A point away from home wouldn't have been bad. If you can't win the game, you take whatever's on offer, and a point was on offer there tonight. But unfortunately, you know, Woods just keeps going, and I mean, it weren't a bad strike from him, but it's a goalkeeping error, 100%.
Yeah, but you take that goal away from Chris Wood at your peril. We mentioned his numbers. Under Nuno, 16 in 24 Premier League games. Look at that. Since Nuno arrived now, only Cole Palmer and one Erling Haaland have scored more Premier League goals than Chris Wood under Nuno. And look at the players he's got more than in that list as well. And in Nottingham Forest's Premier League history, 20 Premier League goals now for Chris Wood. He's only the third player to get to that mark. And as you can see, Stan Collymore and Brian Roy are also.
You've got to laugh that Stuart Pearce is on there.
Penalties and free kicks, wasn't it, Pearce?
Wow.
2,000 games, yeah.
But the first numbers are astonishing. When some of the names, he's Ollie Watkins and.
You're only going to do that if you've got a striker who's a natural target man. Otherwise, that's a difficult sort of cross to get on the end of. But, you know, it's unusual. You know, there's not many Premier League teams play with a big striker. So in Nuno's credit, he's playing with a big striker, and he's having to sacrifice possession here and there because they just can't, you know, fill the holes that you know a normal, like, mobile #9 might do. So, you know, it's brave to play him, and he's had the reward from it. 16 goals. Wow, what a return in 24 games.
No Gibbs White there tonight either, you know, and Ward Prowse with his set pieces as well. So they're creative players, you know. And
2 big players missing, actually.
Huge.
But, you know, you look at Palace, from the team that won all those games, Olise's not playing, Anderson's not playing, Mataka didn't play, the striker didn't start tonight, Walton didn't start. And they were 4 massive components of that run. So you take that out of the team, and suddenly that's what the performance you're going to get. That's not quite as good, or anywhere near as good as that team that ended the season.
Yeah, you rightly, before the game, pointed out to Michael Olise, Alan mentioned that last season he scored the opening goal for Palace in 4 different games. So we've done a little bit of digging with the win ratio with and without Michael Olise. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see just how important he was to Palace's cause, as you were saying.
And that's when you go when you go to your recruitment team, right, and you say, OK, the chairman has had to take, or the board have had to take this offer from Olise. I need someone to replace him who's going to hit anywhere near those numbers, somewhere near them numbers. And very difficult to find, for a team like Palace to get a player to hit those numbers. I remember going to see Alex Ferguson when he was selling Ronaldo. And I went to him, how are you going to replace him? His numbers are just like phenomenal. He said, well, we're just not. We're going to have to plan differently. We're going to have to get 2 free players to try and make up. And that's what Palace should have done for Olise. They should have brought 2 in. They brought Nikita in from Arsenal, but they needed to bring another in my opinion. That's how big an impact.
Well, they did that, didn't they, with Zaha? Zaha missing, so bringing in Eze and Olise. They're going to have to do the same now.
They brought the boy who's at Watford, Ismail Sarr.
Yeah.
But he's not really had an opportunity, has he? He was on the bench again.
He hasn't, but like we say, Walton's on the bench as well. He's a new player who come in, done well at the back end of last season. Glasner's on that one now. He doesn't know which his best team is, and we've been there, Al.
Yep.
You lose games, you feel like it's a must. You have to change it. You just have to try and find something to find the right solution to try and get some points on the board and a win. It's a lot of games without winning. 8 games now without winning one.
And I also think that the impact of Olise we're talking about, but there's a further impact of Anderson, the centre back, where he would step out into that space that the centre half have and switch to play and open up the pitch a little bit. And Palace are not doing that at the moment. They're playing quite tight. It's all kind of measured. There wasn't a lot of switches of play today. Yeah. So there's a lot of fluidity. There's a lot of things going not right for Palace. So as Tim was saying, scratch your head time on the bus, get a cup of coffee, have a look at the video, try and come up with some answers.
OK, well, let's see what his answers are tonight. After another defeat, here he is, the Palace boss, Oliver Glasner.
Oliver, it was another close game where not much decided. It was a particular frustration that it ended as it did.
Well, yes, it is. We're all frustrated, disappointed, and it's, let's say, always 1 or 2 situations decide the game, and at the moment they're always against us. This is the time where we have to go through together, and I saw it, our team fighting from the first until the last second, and trying everything. Hitting twice the post, having 2-3 good chances, but at the moment we don't score goals. We have to be honest. Yeah, there's no goal today, no goal against Liverpool, no goal against Man United, no goal against West Ham, and then it's difficult to win. And then we make one mistake and we get punished. That's the situation where we are in. But the only guys who can get the turnaround are we. And when I saw how I saw the team today, working, trying everything to get the equalizer or to win the game. So we still trust all our players, all the team, and it's just now is sticking together and keep going.
You talk about the lack of goals, but there were close chances today as well. Do you feel you could have created more? Do you feel you need to create more than you are doing?
In a situation where we are, it's not so fluid, and we can see it. So I think we were very often in the final third, and we take wrong decisions, and this is just a lack of confidence. We know this, and especially then maybe you need one because for the post in instead of from the post out. At the end, it was an unbelievable save from their goalkeeper. He couldn't see the ball, but he saved it. Then sometimes you need an easy goal. We don't get an easy goal at the moment, but the team is hard working for their chances. Yes, we should create more, but on the other side, I think twice we hit the post. We had 3-4 other situations to score, and then but we didn't. And it's tough times at the moment.
Yeah, and when you mention confidence, is that something as the games go on, you can see the players maybe just struggling to find that confidence because they haven't got the win yet?
And I think especially in the time where we conceded the goal, we had the momentum on our side, so we were good in the game. We had our situations. It looked like we controlled the game, but then it's a long ball and then and 1-0 down. And of course, then it was for 5-10 minutes. It was Nottingham who had the momentum. But of course, in our situation, you concede this goal. Everybody knows. Now we have to work and work and work. They will go back. They don't concede many goals at the moment. So we everything, this is somewhere here in the back of your mind, and then then comes up. But we tried and we tried. So after the 0-1, we had the great finish from Epps. It was an unbelievable save. Then from Jeffrey Schlupp, unbelievable save. And that's again, it's disappointing. But the mindset of the players gives me a positive feeling for the future.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a positive feeling for the future. I just wonder as a manager, I mean, it's 90 points to play for, let's have it right. But we're 8 games into a 38-game season. You mentioned before how many games sometimes you have in the back of your mind you might need to win or points. They've got 3 on the board. At what point do you begin to worry about that?
Well, personally, I never worried about the points scenario. I always looked at that win column. That gets you home. If you can get 10 wins, that was the target for me. Now, if I was managing that football team and I sat them down this week on Wednesday and said we've lost 8 games, we haven't won for 8 games, we now got 30 games to win 10, I think that the team will be quite daunted by that. So, you have to measure it and kind of work your way through it, a process. I would give them a 6-game target of winning 3 games. That's what I would do. And try and focus their minds a little bit. Forget it's gone now, it's done. And try and focus now on that next 6-game period of picking up 2-3 wins. It's massively important. And the only real glimmer of hope that Palace have at the moment, they're not playing well, they ain't got to win, is that 3 other teams are in exactly the same position. So, it's not like complete doom and gloom. Do you know what I mean? So they're in and around it. It's okay. He's not panicking, the manager there, but, key factors in that team at the moment are not functioning.
Were you a pie chart man? Did you have a little graph in your office?
Not at all, but I think as a
Thank goodness for that. I didn't
dartboard. I think as a manager, you need to know what the objective is of the club at the start of the season. I'll be really interested to know where the hierarchy
is that part of the problem here with the supporters? Because they won 6 out of 7 at the end of last season.
False hope, but they've got to realise themselves they've sold 2 of their best players.
Yeah, but also the Crystal Palace fans are not expecting this.
No,
they're not expecting him to win 6 games out of 8, for example. Yeah. But they would expect 3-4 wins maybe, And I think, when you look at a team, the functionality of it, and then you start seeing Walton not picked, Sarr not picked, the big striker sitting on the bench, and going into a game that you got to win. So all the time then, fans are asking questions, where are they? Because obviously you haven't come up with the solution, you haven't won a game. So all those players now become a problem for him. Now does he put them in, or what is going to be where's he going to shuffle the pack?
Where are they, Al? Are they moved on as a club since you was a manager? What was the objective at the beginning of every season when you were there? To stay in the league?
Well, I think when I was there, it was different. They've been in the Premier League about 4 or 5 years, maybe, and it was definitely a period of where we were strengthening the club and using the funds to strengthen the position, and we got to the cup final. So we jumped through some hoops actually, and then that expectation come back to haunt us when we went back to normal, if you like to say that, because Palace really and truly financially are 14th place. If you look at the money they pay, the net spend that they do, that's probably where they're going to end up. But today they'll be grabbing at 14th place, won't they? You'll be, that'll be like, wow, brilliant, after the start they've had. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of clubs in the Premier League. So let's just call it a Palace, Brighton, Southampton. You could talk a lot of clubs. Some want to stay in division. Other clubs I think they're going to be okay, but let's win a cup. Let's get into Europe. Are we going to get to that sort of level? And I don't think Palace, looking at them this year, will be looking at Europe or a cup.
No. Well, Forest are looking up. Anyway, another win for them. Finally at home. Here's their manager, Nuno.
Now, I don't know if you've looked at the table yet, but you're up to 8th. Is that exceeding your expectations?
No, it's not about the table. It's not about the table. We had a clear goal this game. We had to achieve this first win at home. I insist, home factor in the Premier League is huge for us. We are not able to do that. Let's try to keep it this way.
But your next game is away, not far away, just down the road at Leicester City. Your away form this season has been excellent too.
I think we try to always compete, Martin. It's always the same. It's about competing. And competing might sound strange, this word, but competing is every duel, every moment of the game, every action that you are involved has a huge impact on the game.
And just finally, obviously no Morgan Gibbs-White today, and James Ward-Prowse was missing as well. How did you feel that the players out there that came in for him coped?
Very good, very good, very good. We've been having bad lucks, especially with midfielders. Danilo and Ibrahim Sangare also are out. But the players are stepping in and giving amazing answers, and we are delighted. That is what the squad is about. Hopefully we're going to recover them soon, and hopefully we're going to be stronger.
Just backing up your point, that they look more balanced in their squad after
They do, yeah. Nuno looks happy, doesn't he? I love it when he's so happy. I mean, it's easy when you've had such a good run and he's like, please ask me more questions about the team and I'll give you some really positive answers. Fantastic. He's done a great job.
Okay.
Up to now.
Up to now. Yeah, very early days.